So I got to tell you guys a story. Let's get off the rails right up front. I went to dinner. I took myself to dinner the other night. As you know, I spend a lot of time alone. One would not think that I, being the extroverted person that I am, high energy, I spend a lot of times alone.
Well, you don't like it. Let's be clear.
Sometimes I do, but
Okay.
no, by and large, I do like to, if I'm going to dinner or whatever, there's an art to eating alone, and just being amongst yourself. And so when I drive up here to be in the studio, I'm typically here Monday through Wednesday, or if I'm on the road somewhere, I like to eat a good meal, right? And you don't want to just eat garbage, and I've done plenty of that. Eat the garbage through the fast food because sometimes I like that too. I love me some McDonald's, and I hear you cringing, but I do love McDonald's. My entire life, I've loved McDonald's. But anyway. I go out the other night. I'm over here in Plano, which is sort of kind of your neck of the woods, not your community, but not far from you.
Yeah.
And I got a hotel room, and because I went up there thinking, well, Sarah may get done with her thing early. She may want to have a drink, and we low key date. So your husband doesn't mind. We hang out.
In the next room over.
In the next room over. But I said, Sarah may get done, so I'll go up there and kind of hang close. You were busy. And
now I feel bad.
Don't. But I was there close to you. And I went to Capitol Grill over there in Plano.
Now I feel really bad. I could have gone and gotten a meal.
And I go in there, and I'm back doing the no carb thing. And so ordered a salad, ordered a steak, and some spinach. And I'm having a great meal. I'm drinking some Don Julio 1942 tequila. Neat. It's expensive, but it's just me, so why not?
Right.
I'm on a date with me. And I know
Treat
I put
yourself.
out. So I'm going to get myself a little loose and easy, but I'm watching the baseball game there over the bar, and I looked at Sharon, the bartender there. She's a sweetheart. I said, Sharon, I think I'm going to have one more drink. I said, but I'm going to run to the restroom. And restroom's right there at the end of the bar, and I go over there, and I go in the door, and I was like, oh, this is one of those places that just has nothing but stalls, because sometimes Capitol Grill, they're behind a door. It's got a slatted thing where you can see down to the floor when you're on the inside. And you turn the lock and it goes from green to red. It tells you it's occupied. So I grab the first one that's green, boom, go in there, shut the door, and do what I do in the toilet. And I, little pee-pee, and I started to walk out, and I can see the floor through the slats of the door, and I'm like, God, I always know when I'm in North Dallas because these dudes wear the gayest shoes, And then I'm looking through the slat, and I start to open the door, and I go, man, this dude is really metrosexual here. And then I go, there's nobody that gay. And then all of a sudden it hit me. There were no urinals in this room. None, not even one. Fort Worth's men's room at Capitol Grill has 2. I was like, there were no urinals. That's not a guy standing there washing his hands. That's a woman. I'm in the ladies' room. So I slowly locked the door back over to red, and I waited out.
Oh, my gosh.
Now I've got to make an extraction. I got to get out of there. Now I'm going to walk out into a very busy bar area because it's wide open right there, the entrance to the cocktail lounge.
And how do you know that you're not going to run into a
woman? Lady coming in. And I'm like, you know what? There's only one way to do this. It's like just hope for the best and go. Don't pause. Act like you know where you are. Act like you know what you're doing, and pray you don't get arrested. So I did, man. I launched right out of there. Nobody was coming. I waited for her I heard her wash her hands. I heard the door close. Bam. Here we go. Man, we're making our move. And so I get out there. I just walk out, and Sharon kind of glanced up at me from behind the bar. She was about 15 feet away, but she didn't register as I came out of the dark shadows which door I had come from.
Successful. Was it a successful
I was
operation?
behind enemy lines, man. And this idea that people want to go and pee in a bathroom that is occupied typically by the opposite gender, you get something wrong with you.
Yeah.
I've done that before. I wasn't drunk. I just wasn't paying attention. Like my dyslexia kicked in or something, and the M was exchanged with the F, and I went into the F. And I went in there, and I was amongst females with very gay shoes.
I'll tell you, I went to the Pride Festival to go do the work that I did there. It was not, I'll give you a hint, it was not for fun.
Well, I'd love to unpack that sentence.
That I went to the Pride Festival, and it very much shocked me because when I went to the bathroom, there was a big dude in there with a full beard, wearing a dress with a child, taking changing the child's diaper or whatever. And I was like, this is so uncomfortable, and I want to say something, and I can't because I am behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, how do I win this one?
You don't.
Literally everyone around me is in total agreement that this dude should be in my bathroom.
Yeah, because there, not only is it accepted, it's encouraged.
Right. It was so uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, I try to be a respecter of persons.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy who is that BlazeTV podcast TV host who is always talking about protecting women's spaces and women's sports, was caught in a women's bathroom at a 5-star restaurant in Plano, Texas. I don't know. Maybe that's what I should do. I'll just call it Alex Steining. That's what we do. We call it Steining.
Yeah.
That's
when you
like
got to do dumb
bit.
shit to get a
Yeah.
headline, we're Steining. Alex has a police report.
Yeah, but in fairness, that police report is bogus.
Well, they didn't arrest him.
Well, right, and they claimed they weren't going to press charges. Maybe because they were saying that he did something he didn't do, and he has video exoneration.
Yeah. Well, Bobby Barack, or however he says his name, wrote that article about Alex, and he said, he's one of the online comedians who's still out there doing funny stuff. I take exception to that, Bobby.
Ooh, Bobby.
I mean, I'm actually doing live shows.
I'm gonna text Bobby.
I text Bobby. I don't have to go out and paparazzi harass celebrities to get a headline. I actually sell out theaters, dude. But I love Bobby, and but he wrote the article, and he was talking about how what's going to be interesting is if the WNBA is going to get the funding, because they can't fund anything. The WNBA would not exist without the NBA subsidizing it, right? So again, which goes back to China for the vagina. So if Alex had not harassed Brittany Griner at the DFW airport, they might not be getting charter planes. But now it looks like the girls might start flying private.
I think he owes him. I'm not sure of Brittany Griner's actual
She's a girl.
gender. I don't know. But I think that Brittany Griner owes Alex like a fruit basket at the very least.
AOC does too.
Yeah.
The most popular thing AOC has done in all of her time in Congress is get called a big booty Latina girlfriend by Alex Stein.
It's true.
I wanted to have Alex on. We thought about having Alex on.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I don't want to, because Alex will come on and talk about everything except what we're trying to talk about.
Yeah.
Because I saw Alex, if you in the studio, you look up, there's a mezzanine up there where the offices are. Because this looks like a prison inside here. It's like a prison hallway.
They filmed Prison Break here.
They filmed Prison Break here. They got the bars up there, the whole thing. So if you're ever seen like a movie where you're inside, or maybe you spent time in a prison where, the upstairs part has bars that go down the deal. That's the way the Blaze looks over there in the atrium. So Alex, I hear him go, "Hey, Chad." Because I never figure out what his testosterone's doing because he breaks all the time. "Hey, Chad. I mean, Brittany, what do you think of the fair trade with the merchant of death? Do you think that, did you sleep with Vladimir Putin? Get off me, dude, get off me." I mean, I could be Alex Stein at this point, minus the height. And anyway, so he's like, and I was like, "Dude, congrats, you got a police report, bro. These are good headlines. Are you in trouble?" He goes, "No, I don't think. I think I'm in a little trouble, but I think the next thing I do is probably going to be really bad." I'm like, bro, I don't get that, man. You know what he wanted to do? He wanted to run out on the court.
Yes, I know.
And I said, absolutely,
don't
not
do that. You will get arrested.
Do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. This ended up being far better, too. And it was perfect that the security guard was like 5'5".
The little beta guy.
Yeah,
and it was smiling through the whole thing.
Yes, but I mean, not only are you not fending off Alex Stein, if Alex were to want to cause any aggression, which he clearly didn't, you're also like no good to 6'9" Brittany Griner.
Yeah.
When you're much smaller than the person that you are trying to protect, there's no point to being there.
But the thing that bugs me, and this is what I talked about on the show earlier this week, was how they're trying to make a martyr and a victim out of Brittany Griner.
Yes.
Because again, and it's like we can't allow them to do that.
Yes.
Can't allow them to do that.
Yes, because at the end of the day, all he was doing was asking a question. Like, you can't handle a heckler at an airport. Give me a break.
Yeah, this wasn't a high-speed chase in Paris.
No.
With Princess Diana.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Which was a hit job, by the way. By the Queen. We can say that the Queen's dead.
You could say it if the Queen was alive.
I did say it when the Queen was alive.
We fought a war to be able to say whatever the hell you want about the Queen.
Damn what the Queen thought since 1776. Well, Alex does what he does. It's good. Let's get into some comedian controversy here. You ready?
Yes.
Play clip number 12, please.
My country, Singapore, after we gained independence from the British, we were a struggling little nation. In order to survive, we formed a union with a larger, more powerful country, Malaysia. Where are you from, Malaysia or Singapore? Malaysia, okay, yeah. You assholes. When my prime minister went on TV to announce that you guys had dumped us, he cried because he thought we're not going to survive without you. But then 40 years later, we became a first world country. And you guys, Malaysia, what are you now? Still a developing country. Oh, boo. You, Malaysia. Isn't that the best breakup revenge? Now Malaysia, y'all trying to come around like, hey, Singapore, you're looking good lah. And we're like, I know, but why haven't you visited me in 40 years? And you're like, yeah, I tried, but you know, my airplanes cannot fly. What? Malaysian Airlines going missing not funny, huh? Some jokes don't land. This joke kills in Singapore.
Gosh.
I get a bad Yelp review from the Malaysians. It's okay, they don't have internet.
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Asians, by and large, don't like each other.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
The whole idea of, and I'll just say this in simple terms, the whole idea of racism to them, they don't have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a problem with it. From country to country and different Asian deals, yeah, they don't. Mm-mm. We used to go to the Philippines all the time, and we had a friend who was of Japanese descent, and he wanted to go because they were like mission trips. He really wanted to go, and it was like, in the Philippines, they really don't like you Japanese people.
Wow.
After World War II, they're not a fan. And so they give him some of them glances because he'd go.
They hold grudges.
Yeah, kind of. There's a lot of history there. Yeah. A lot of history. Like, we're hanging on to what I said about Queen Elizabeth, 1776. We're hanging on to 250 years. They're talking about millennia.
Right.
Yeah. China built a wall to keep other Asians out. So they don't mind about that. So they don't get offended by it like we do. Mm-hmm. All right. That's pretty funny. She's pretty quick. All right. For years, you've heard me talk about iTarget. If you have one, I'm about to take you to the next level. If not, well, this is a new product, and it's something you need to get. If you want to, wouldn't you like to go out there and do some of those competitive shooter practicing, the timing drills out at the range? They're really fun, and you could do that at home if you want to, and you don't even have to spend a dime on ammo. They have this new product called the iTarget Cube, and the iTarget Cube is fully compatible with your existing laser bullet if you've already got iTarget Pro. Or you can upgrade to the 3-pack, which is a pretty unique training experience. You can compete with your friends. You can practice clearing drills. You can use random mode to test your ability to react. And the system's going to time every shot you take. So right now, I'll save you 10% plus free shipping with offer code CHAD, I spell it Chad, when you go to itargetpro.com. iTarget comes in most calibers from 9mm to .223. So you can train in pretty much any firearm you own. It's the easiest and most cost-effective way to train, and it pays for itself in a single day. That's the letter I, targetpro.com, itargetpro.com, and the offer code is Chad. We'll be right back. What do you think about Chuck Grassley saying he's got recordings of Joe and Hunter and Burisma talking about that bribery deal.
Yeah, saying that the FBI informant has.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The FBI informant said that this foreign national, who we know is a Burisma executive, has all of those recordings. I say, get us those recordings now.
Well, the Burisma person supposedly had them because they were like a
insurance
policy, which I would have that. I would have that. I hate it when my girlfriend records me when I'm mad at her, but it's pretty embarrassing when suddenly you're like, damn, I sounded like that. I want to hear what Joe sounds like when he's making a deal with Ukraine.
Yeah, two of the phone calls are with Joe, and the 15 of them are with Hunter.
Yeah.
So I think we need to hear them. And quite honestly, what is the downside for the Burisma guy to roll over on it? Like, he's already got his money.
Yeah.
Or he's already got the favor, and they've already got their money.
Unless there's somebody in Ukraine who's saying, don't do that because it implicates other things.
That's true. And, we might stop funding their proxy war.
We said it. But that's what it is. You want to watch those trans breasts at the White House again?
I just don't want to watch any breasts, let alone men's breasts, which I never thought that I would say in my life, but here we are.
You don't want to see those again?
No, not really.
Can't twist your arm?
I'm questioning how much gay shit you've done when you continue asking if I want to see a man's breasts.
I've only done like 4 or 5 inches of it. The real women don't have balls right here. Real women don't have balls. Just remember that. That's a mantra. I'm going to get that tattooed somewhere.
Are you?
Nope. You get that at realwomensclub.com. I want you to play clip number 5, please. So this is college class, right?
Wow, Miss Clark. Wow. Why are you showing this to kids?
They're watching a Pride video.
Hey, I'll warn you guys now, if you're going to be inappropriate, I will have supervision down and give all of you a Saturday school for next year. So knock it off.
Okay.
So the teacher threatens them with Saturday school if they don't quit being inappropriate. You're showing them an inappropriate film.
Yeah. Hey, you know what's inappropriate? Indoctrinating kids into pride.
All right. That's what I'm saying. Oh, my God. That's what I'm saying. That is the wrong kind of gay video to be showing anyway.
Really? What is the correct?
Just, a couple girls just hanging out, cleaning windows.
2 girls, 1 cup?
One thing. No, not that. Not ever, never, ever. Don't you ever Google 2 girls, 1 cup. Don't you ever do that,
do it.
My audience. Don't you
do
ever,
it.
ever.
Do it.
Stop it, Sarah. No. Did you see where Reading, however they say it, Pennsylvania, the mayor said freedom of speech doesn't apply in the case of a man who was arrested in the city earlier this month after trying to quote the Bible to Pride rally attendees. So they came and shut him down, and Mayor Eddie Moran, this was last Thursday, just a week ago, said, first and foremost, I consider myself lucky to have been able to participate in the Reading Pride March and Rally.
Oh, my God.
It truly was a wonderful event. And I look forward to continuing to celebrate the LGBTQ plus percentage point exclamation community throughout the month of June with regard to the incident. The city respects the First Amendment rights of all individuals. However, freedom of speech does not include the right to disrupt an organized event and interfere with the rights of others.
That's not what happened. He didn't interfere with the rights of others, and he didn't disrupt the event. He didn't even have a megaphone.
He was across the street from the thing.
He was across the street speaking.
Yeah. And he was on public property.
Right.
And he had just as much right to be there and open his mouth and talk as anybody else did. And so, that's what happened. But again, free speech doesn't count in that case. So,
I mean, it does, though. The mayor's just an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope this guy has, I would love a way to get in touch with this guy. I hope he has good representation because, I mean, that is a clear case where
they put him in handcuffs.
I know.
And everything. So, Adam Steinbaugh, who's the attorney for the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, said should have never been in handcuffs in the first place. The city needs to take measures to correct its officers' misconduct and ensure that its officers will not violate the First Amendment in the future. This is something we talked about yesterday, where you just start saying these people who look around and they're like, oh, I have to, like these police officers, I have to do something to show that we're okay with you guys over there. And so, again, you're bowing down and coddling this group of people, because I promise you, if it was a prayer rally across the street and a pride activist, whatever that is, came up, or a Satanist, I mean, you came to my show where the Satanists were protesting my deal, they don't get arrested.
No.
They don't get put in handcuffs.
No.
Hey, by the way, if you can ever get Satanists to one of your shows, it's guaranteed to sell it out. People will show up and they don't even like me, and they're like, we bought a ticket because F Satan.
Jesus loves you more if you go to Chad Prather Live and buy a ticket.
Jesus will bless you if you go in the next 10 minutes to watchchad.com. It's where all the fun stuff is. And you buy a ticket to come see me in Beaumont or any number of places across the board, all across the country.
Extra points from Jesus.
Yeah. La Jolla, California. I'm going into Satan's den for 3 nights.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
18th, 19th, and 20th at the Comedy Store in La Jolla.
Oof.
Right outside of San Diego. That's where the frou-frou people are.
That is.
We're going to have a good time.
With the frou-frous?
I just like saying La Jolla. Get me a hoe in La Jolla. Just rolls off the tongue. WatchChat.com. Yeah. But you see the whole Garth Brooks, whatever you want to call it, Garth Brooks controversy, if you will, which Garth has always been a douche. Yes. Anybody that talks about themselves in the third person, that's just not Garth, man. When I think about what is Garth, I think about, Garth wouldn't do that. Like, Garth would never sing that song. Could Garth pull his penis out of his own ass, make room for his head? Because that's where he stuck it on this Bud Light thing. So he's opening up, Lower Broad in Nashville is where they have all the touristy bars, the live music and stuff is going on down there. And it used to be fun.
Right.
And then they gave every bar down there some celebrity's name. So you got Alan Jackson's, you got Kid Rock's, you got Luke Bryan, you got, name it, Dierks Bentley's place. You got, and again, these guys have nothing to do with it other than they loan their name and get paid for them to use their name. Jason Aldean.
Not a bad gig, honestly. If you
John Rich is the only one. John Rich, our buddy John Rich, is the only one at Redneck Riviera who actually owns the bar. It's his bar. He's got skin in the game. The other ones have these big-time investors in there. So Garth Brooks got this deal coming in there, and he made the comment. He said, we're going to sell all kinds of beer, and if you don't like it, if you're an asshole, you can go somewhere else. So basically, if you don't drink Bud Light because you're making a statement because, hey, we're not going to have this crammed down our throat anymore, then automatically, according to Garth Brooks, you're an asshole.
And you can go somewhere else, which you definitely should.
Yeah, I say go somewhere else. Because, again, that's the rhetoric that pisses people off. Right? Like, first of all, Garth didn't know you had a bar. So if this is your campaign for marketing, didn't know you had a new bar coming out. Good job, kudos, because now we're talking about it. But your low friends in low places bar and honky tonk in gay pole pride dance house, bath, steam, sauna, drinking Bud Light with a thong you bought to tuck from Target. But he said if you're an asshole, there's plenty of other places on Lower Broadway. Well, I just listed a lot of them. John Rich's, because John took Bud Light out of his place. And I'm trying to get our Duquesne beer in there, the Duke. I'm trying to get that in there. Well, it's coming. Ooh. It's coming. And they have already talked to TJ McDaniel with Redneck Riviera and John Rich and all of them. He's like, send it on. Let's go. Let's sell some beer.
Yeah.
There's plenty of places.
Well, I wonder, did Garth Brooks think that any of the liberal boycotts that have happened, all of the leftists who try to cancel people like Tucker Carlson or, try to cancel sponsorships of people because they disagree with them politically, did Garth Brooks call any of them an asshole?
Right.
Because that's not even what we're doing, by the way. We're just, as a consumer, choosing where we want to spend our dollars. These people are actively trying to cancel other people's careers because they disagree with them politically. So I'm just wondering if he's being objective when he's calling people assholes.
Well, let's see. There's a song by Garth Brooks that came out a few years ago, and I called it out a few years ago. He says, "This ain't coming from no prophet, just an ordinary man. When I close my eyes, I see the way this world should be, when we all walk hand in hand, when the last child cries for a crust of bread, when the last man dies for words that he said, when there's shelter over the poorest head, we shall be free." And that sounds great, right? Well, it's going to start getting a little contradictory here, because he says, when the last thing we notice is the color of skin, the first thing we look for is the beauty within. When the skies and the oceans are clean again, we shall be free. Then he goes in the whole thing. When you're free to love anyone you choose, and the world's big enough for all different views, including people that don't want to drink Bud Light.
Right.
All different views. Right. All different views involve conservative views, narrow-minded views, leave me alone and limit your overreach into my life sort of views. When we're free to worship from our own kind of pew, can I be a Satanist? According to Garth, I can be. Right? Yeah. So again, I hear what you're saying with this whole thing, but again, you start having this big open-minded idea, and you believe in everything. Well, you ultimately believe in nothing.
Right.
And so he doubled down on the thing. He doubled down and he said, I think diversity is the answer to the problems that are here and the answer to the problems that are coming.
No.
Well, again, diversity is one thing, but what you're saying about diversity and inclusivity is completely different from what the reality is when you try to bring that in.
I also think diversity is what caused the problem.
Right. Because if your diversity includes grooming children or parading your junk in front of children, that's not my kind of diversity.
I mean, we've talked about this on the show before. A society cannot cohesively exist where everyone is diverse and you have a completely different set of values and morals.
No, that's why we're called. Somebody said to me in a bar.
That's not a community.
Somebody said to me in a bar conversation the other day, they said, well, America's not a melting pot. We're a mixing pot. I said, and that's the problem.
Exactly. Exactly right. Exactly.
You're supposed to be a melting pot, so you can't identify which cheese melted into the other cheese. You guys just made a stew, so you pull that out, and you still got the peas and the carrots, and you can distinguish which are the two. So that means you haven't assimilated into this culture. Yep. It said, okay, and what's the culture? It's constitutional freedom. Constitutional freedom is what you've got to do, where you have a guiding principle that you're willing to abide by, right? And that's not what you're willing to do. Yep. So it's okay to have some assimilation.
Right.
We should have it.
Right. Right.
But again, now we got people who are crossing the southern border that have absolutely no desire whatsoever. And by the way, these people like Ilhan Omar who want to, practice Sharia law, it's 100% contradictory of, and adverse to the U.S. Constitution. So you can't do it. So Garth, suck it. The world's not big enough for all your different views. Said by Alpha Bigot. That's my new rap name. Alpha Bigot, yo.
I love it.
Instead of Biggie Smalls, it's Bigot Smalls.
Bigot Smalls.
I love it.
That's right. Bigot Alpha. All right. If you're dealing with that pain that just will not go away, it's chronic, I got some ideas for you, because you don't have to go through life just sustaining and dealing with pain. Sometimes you think there's no relief and there's nothing you can do to get out of it. But I'm telling you, there's something you can do. It's something that I've done, and it works. Don't let it steal your joy anymore. If you're one of the people who experience a chronic pain, I know how awful it can be, but there's good news. It doesn't have to be that way. Relief Factor is a great way to reduce pain, which is mostly caused by inflammation in the joints. And when you take it as directed, it could possibly, absolutely, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, change your life. Not a drug, but it's developed by doctors, and it reduces inflammation in your body. 70% of the people who take it keep ordering it because it works. So if you're living with pain, try the 3-week quick start. It's only $19.95, and it's a trial pack, and you're going to want more. Go to relieffactor.com. Call them 800-4-RELIEF. That's relieffactor.com. We'll be right back. You never know, man. You go to a break around here, and Sara Gonzales transitions into a man. Boom.
You weren't talking about that, Chad.
It just happens. My buddy David Iverson is here. He has an incredible podcast, Cowboy State Politics. He's in the state of Wyoming, and it's like one of the most listened to shows up there, right?
Yep, it is the most listened to conservative show.
I mean, there's only 70 people in Wyoming. But
Well, that's true. I mean, the market works a little bit different there, Chad.
that's an easy joke. But I love Wyoming. I love going up there. I love that part of the country, and I've done a lot of stuff up there. And there's some good folks up there, but some wild stuff going on up there too.
That's true.
And I want to talk to you about that and get into it. But first, let's play a clip that you brought in. Y'all check this out.
So what it is a drag show at the university that happened on April the 13th. That's the UW president. And in it,
So that's the president of the University of Wyoming. And you're showing him the drag show.
Yep. Did you hear what she said?
No, I didn't. I couldn't hear.
So he says, in ballroom, we say pussy a lot. We say pussy and cunt. That's what he says. So do you think that's an effective use or an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
Well, I wouldn't say such things, so just say that, but...
Well, it happened in the education auditorium, sir.
That happened on
Students
campus.
Oh, yeah.
will do
In the education
interesting
building.
things sometimes. I was not there. I didn't see it. I wouldn't say such things myself.
Okay, well, there's a lot more where that comes from.
All right.
At one point in the video, and I'd be happy to provide this to you, but at one point in the video, they say F the kids.
Okay.
I mean, do you think that Wyoming citizens would appreciate our university doing this?
I would not. I would think many people would find that offensive.
Wow, what a response.
Wow. I wasn't there. Students will do some interesting things.
That's a typical political pass the buck. This is, I mean, it's under the umbrella of your authority. It's on your campus.
Absolutely. Well, and that drag show, it was taking place about 30 feet from an elementary school. They have an elementary school on the campus. Don't tell me that was a coincidence.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
This Wyoming.
Well, and that's just the thing, man. It's a lot of people in Wyoming. You hear this all the time. Well, this is Wyoming. That stuff doesn't happen here.
Yeah.
Well, this was sponsored by the university. It was paid for by the university. And I had to send undercover investigators to expose it.
Wow. So you sent people in and took that video.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch more video where that came from.
Dude, and the crazy thing about it is I'll go to certain places, like places in Montana, places in Wyoming, and people are like, oh, man, it's just cowboy country up there. Everybody's got these old school values and stuff. It's like, get into one of those college towns and you'll find different.
Well, and that's just the thing, Chad. The entire rest of the state is very much as you described it.
Yeah.
Very conservative people. They're just hardworking folks, and they don't really pay attention to what's happening at the school. And the truth is, there is a huge effort at the University of Wyoming, well, on every college campus, to push this gender ideology, drag shows, you name it. And actually, this really was a drag training, is what it was.
What's that? I mean, in what way? What do you think?
So they did the drag show, and then there was a portion of it where they trained people how to do what it was that they saw on stage. So, the university's motto used to be, the world needs more cowboys. We all liked it, right?
Yeah.
Evidently now it's the world needs more drag queens.
Wow.
I mean, it's just amazing. And, everybody that I've shown this video to, I mean, it's just blown their mind.
Dude, it's crazy. I was telling people on the show earlier this week, and I say it over and over again because people don't believe me. Well, they do, I don't know, but we have a lot of small towns in Texas, some pretty rural areas actually, where we have people that, for lack of better terms, they're activists from California who have moved here with the express purpose of joining city councils and getting, elected to school boards. And they came with an agenda, to do that. So rural America is not exempt by any stretch of the imagination.
No, and you're exactly right. A lot of people are trying to get out of California or the East Coast, and they find these, like rural communities, nice places to live, nice place to raise your family. The trouble is they bring their politics with them.
Yeah.
And
a lot of times, what I've started hearing lately is people say, well, they're just getting away from the oppressive taxes of places like California. It doesn't mean they're conservative.
No.
It doesn't mean that they have the same values that you or I might have. And again, nobody's necessarily asking them to convert to anything. I sort of wish you would, leave it at the state line before you come in here and turn this place into a bureaucratic nightmare. And I mean, I've told people, I said, the most death threats I've ever gotten coming into a city to do a live show was in Missoula, Montana, of all places. Again, it's a college town, and it's a bunch of California transplants that are in there, and as you said, it's a different ideology, and they're trying to push that thing. How did that conversation ultimately end up with that college president?
That was pretty much the end of it.
Oh, he was done at that point.
Yeah, he looks at the camera, and it's just a deer in the headlights look. Like, oh, crap, I just got caught.
It's amazing to me that those guys don't have a little more diplomacy. I mean, you can be a bullshit artist and talk your way through some things and say nothing, but still come out better than what I think his reaction was.
Yeah, I mean, let me explain it this way. That sort of reporting doesn't happen in Wyoming.
No.
I mean, I don't think that I've seen another news outlet or anything really to do any sort of investigative reporting.
Yeah.
And so this was, something that totally surprised them. Now, another interesting part about this, Chad, is, that video, of course, there's a video and then my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's been listened to a lot. And there has been almost nothing in the Wyoming media.
Wow.
I mean, it's through a Freedom of Information Act request, I got some of the documents from the school on what these two departments that put it on spent in the last fiscal year. One of them spent $722,000, and we can't figure out what exactly they actually did. Yeah. And then the other one spent $922,000. So in Wyoming terms, $1.6 million of our money, that's a big number.
That's a lot of money in Wyoming.
Yep.
And we don't know where that money got spent.
No, they haven't exactly been all forthcoming about that. We're working on that.
How often are you going out and exposing things like that?
Well, I actually did another investigation into a similar event in Rock Springs.
Okay.
That's on the YouTube channel also.
Yeah.
But that one was a community outfit, a theater group that put on this drag show. And in the video, and I find that one to be more disturbing because there's about a dozen kids running around.
Yeah, see, that's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's horrific.
Well, and again, if you're out at a private location, a private property, it's a bar or whatever it may be, and you choose to do that event, and the owners of that place choose to let you do that on their private property, that's one thing. But you're doing it at the University of Wyoming. You're doing it on the campus. It's funded by the school. It's funded by the state, taxpayer money.
Exactly.
That's a problem. That's a problem. I mean, you guys have been, and I say that to the audience, people have been barking at us for years about having, campus ministries and all these kind of things. But again, usually those things, while they're allowed to operate on a campus, they're not being paid for with taxpayer funds.
No, it's all private.
Yeah. And then again, they're also not engaged in stuff that's sexually explicit. I'm so sick to death of these people who say, well, there's nothing sexual about drag. What?
There absolutely is.
I mean, you're playing stupid.
Like the whole point of a drag show is to indoctrinate people.
Yeah.
And that same group in Rock Springs that I mentioned, they put on a Halloween party for children. Gee, I wonder what that was about.
Wow. We'll talk some more. Let's go to a break. Make sure I'm at the right spot on this break here. I think I am. Hey, listen, I want you guys to picture for a minute what it would be like if all of a sudden there was a global medication supply chain shortage. You couldn't get antibiotics and it just disappeared right before your eyes. Most of the medicine that's manufactured for our country is not manufactured in our country. It's manufactured in places like India and China. So if things go south, and they're probably going to, they're going to take care of their own needs first. So what do you do when all of a sudden you or somebody you love needs, say, antibiotics, and there's just aren't any to be had? Well, you should have a supply on hand in case of a disaster. It's part of your preparedness program. It should be, at least. And Jace Case from Jace Medical is a great way to keep yourself prepared for the worst. It's a pack of 5 different courses of antibiotics that you can use to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses like, respiratory infections, sinusitis, skin infections, UTIs, and a whole lot more. Listen, every listener of this show, everybody that watches this, you should have a Jace Case on hand. You should not go to bed tonight before you order your family family's Jace case. It's a great way to be ready for shortages, and it's perfect for traveling. Listen, don't get caught unprepared. Go to jacemedical.com, enter code CHAD, I spell it Chad, at checkout, promo code Chad at JASEmedical.com, and we'll be right back. So what, you said this president, you said he's pretty active in terms of being pro-LGBT stuff on campus.
Oh yeah, there's pictures of him with there's a big LGBT lobbying group in the state called Wyoming Equality, and I mean they're behind a lot of this stuff. Right. And there's pictures online of him hugging on all of them, showing up at LGBTQ type events. I mean he's very much.
Which again, fine, knock yourself out. I don't care. But if you're using taxpayer money to fund these things, you're doing it on a college campus. If you're involving kids or anywhere near kids, no bueno. Can't sign off on that. You know.
Well, and that's the big thing, Chad. You know, it's a free country.
Sure.
You know, if you want to go on private property and go to your private event, fine. Stay away from the kids.
Yeah. It's not a hard concept, really. I mean, it should just be common sense. But we're gonna see it's gonna get worse before it gets better in regards to that. The idea that these parents are willing to take their kids and expose them to this stuff, that's where I just lose my shit, really, honestly. I don't know how to deal with that.
Well, and like I told you, that deal in Rock Springs, there's a dozen kids running around that thing. I mean, I don't understand the thinking that goes through your head to say, wow, this would be a good event to take my little children to.
Yeah, I want to see the new Little Mermaid. Maybe go to Disney on Ice, maybe walk around the park, see some fireworks, and then see some, dude in drag. I mean, it's such a quality entertainment for our family,
Exactly right.
So, I don't know. It's crazy. Well, dude, thanks for doing that. Thanks for exposing it, because here's the thing. If it can happen in Wyoming,
it can happen everywhere.
Everywhere.
I appreciate it.
And the thing is, it is happening everywhere. It is happening everywhere. And we just got to stop turning a blind eye to it. And I love what you did right there. You weren't out of line by saying, hey, this is happening right here on your campus. You're paying for it. What do you think about it?
Exactly.
I think we need to put more of them on the spot like that.
Absolutely we do. Yeah. And, and I think all it takes is like citizen journalists whipping out their cell phone and just exposing this stuff. Yeah. That's what I do.
Yeah. Where can people find you?
Anywhere you find your podcast, it's Cowboy State Politics.
Cowboy State Politics. I like it already. And again, as I was telling you, my buddy Zach Rushing, that we travel together and do a lot of shows together right now. He played football, University of Wyoming. Got a number of friends that actually played football. They're all Cowboys. Even got the Cowboy logo tattooed on their body somewhere.
Well, that might be mandatory now.
Yeah, I think you got to get branded in some kind of way. But thanks for doing what you're doing, and thanks for taking the time. I hope you enjoyed your visit to Texas, hanging out.
Oh, it was great. Like I was telling you, went to the Rangers game last night.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
Yeah,
it's been a good visit.
And the Rangers, the Texas Rangers baseball club, is the only one in the major leagues who decided not to have a Pride night. I mean, they stood against the whole thing. So,
you know what was cool about last night? There was no politics.
I love that.
It was just baseball.
Yeah. People think that. I have people all the time who think that I just go home and only want to talk about culture and politics all the time. It's like, no, I just want to exist. But I'm very outspoken when it comes to protecting kids and being left alone, and you live your life with some dignity and not having the governmental overreach. So
exactly right. Yeah. Just don't shove your agenda down my throat, and you do you, and I'll do me.
Yeah. David Iverson, be sure to check out his podcast. I'm going to subscribe to it. So,
excellent.
And I will tell you guys, when you're over there leaving ratings and reviews for the Chad Prather Show, go leave some ratings and reviews for him, because that helps boost his algorithm a little bit higher and exposes, these shows you should be listening to where podcasts are offered. So do that for Cowboy State Politics. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks, Chad. I appreciate it.
Thanks for hanging out. All right, guys, you got to clean your guns. That is part of being a gun owner and being responsible, but I want to give you a better way to do it. I don't know if you've seen these things, Dave. It's called Barrel Buddy, man. These are pretty cool right here. They had this idea. They're like, hey, those floaty things, those noodles you float on in the pool? They said, what if we took some of those polymers, put them together, and as it goes through, it actually does a couple of different things. So these things actually will compress to fill the interior of your gun's barrel, and it cleans the rifling grooves, and it will actually we won't leave behind the residual particles like a lot of the fabrics do when you push them through there. It'll scrub, it'll collect the particulates, it'll absorb any remaining residue, it'll buff the interior surface clean. You can even lubricate your firearm while you're cleaning it. So I want you to go over to barrelbuddy.com and make this experience a little bit easier for you, because cleaning your guns is a really important step in being a responsible gun owner. It's a new concept. It's a better concept. So I want you to check it out when you're taking care of your firearms. I guarantee you'll love them. Go over to barrelbuddy.com. That is barrelbuddy.com, and we'll be right back. There's so many clips I want to show you from earlier in the week. Here's one. This I-95, man. Check this out. Clip 10. Just the whole collapse of this thing, man. You do start to wonder and worry about the infrastructure of the United States. And, we've had the train derailments. We've had bridge collapses. We've had explosions in factories. We've had cows dropping dead. Now this is scary. You're driving down the road, and I'm like, where's Pete Buttigieg? Maybe he's been looking at the wrong holes. But, that's scary deal, right? That's I-95, and the whole road collapsed, right? The whole bridge did. So I think you ever think about that when you're driving down the highway, 70 miles an hour, and you're like, what if this bridge just bloop?
Well, I didn't until recently.
Yeah, I've seen videos over the years of these old rickety bridges or bridges that haven't had maintenance. There was one, I think it was in Minnesota, that happened, years ago, and it's like, wow, dude, it's a tragedy.
They said that's going to take a few months to fix. So
wow,
I can only imagine the traffic.
They need to put Ron DeSantis in charge of that thing there. That was in Florida. It happened in 3 days. But hey, listen, guys, I hope you know that we do love you, and we love everybody. We love everybody, but now we'll make fun of everybody too. But I'll also call people out. It doesn't make you a bigot. It doesn't make you some kind of extremist. It doesn't make you hate-filled. It's not about hate, guys. It's about right and wrong. And when you call out things that are wrong, that doesn't mean you hate the people who are doing it. No, what we'd really love to see you do is turn from that and go a different direction in your life, because we know that the end of that is a wild destruction that you really don't want any part of in your life. So when you're building that house of cards, remember that one day it's going to fall. It always falls, just like that bridge fell in right there. When they built that, they didn't anticipate that one day it was going to fall. But you know what? There was a fault line and something happened. There's some ideologies out there that we've looked at specifically this week that I'm telling you there's a lot of fault lines. Now, I'm not saying anyone among us is perfect, but man, when you are pursuing things that are evil and you speak the things that are evil, it's going to come back on you in a way that you really are going to regret. And by telling somebody that they're headed down a highway that it's going to fall in and they're headed to destruction, that's not hate. That's actually compassion. And I want to encourage you guys to keep speaking up, because you never know whose life you're going to change and maybe even whose life you're going to save. So stay strong out there and stay vigilant. It's not being done in vain. We love you. Hey, I want you to come and see me, have some laughs, and do some fun things with us. We got, again, Biloxi this weekend. We're going to be in Beaumont at the Jefferson Theater on the 24th, Zach Rushing and myself. And we're looking forward to some laughs with you guys and a big crowd. It's selling fast, so get your tickets at watchchad.com. It's where all the fun stuff is. Check out the store while you're there. And don't forget to subscribe to BlazeTV, blazetv.com/Chad. Use promo code Chad so you can get the overtime this weekend. Have a great weekend, and we love you. God bless you. Bye.